It's a monthly webinar about FileCatalyst products and about file transfer solutions, where we hold once a month. So today we'll be talking about large email attachments and other web-based file transfer tools that we provide. Here, I am the co-founder and president of Unlimited Software, the makers of FileCatalyst. I've been working with FileCatalyst Webmail and workflow products for the better part of the last 10 years. And yeah, check out my blog if you have any for any more information on file transfer problems and any other technical issues I've stumbled on over the last 10 years. I have been trying to keep up my blog articles up to date. So I'll go quickly over the agenda. So I'll explain a little bit about the current situation of large email transfers and what people do today. I'll talk briefly about Webmail solution, our FileCatalyst Webmail solution, and my point is not to really show you PowerPoints, but really to get into the software and show you the software as much as possible. So I'm going to really focus on doing demos of the software. So I'll show you first a really basic, file transfer use case where you just want to send a file to some email recipient. I'll show you a bit of how to add a little bit more security to this process. I'll show you how you can customize this process based on the groups. So, for example, you might have a marketing group that has different file transfer needs than, let's say, your finance group or your accounting group. And then I'll also show you how you can work with file areas and how groups can cooperate on files within file areas. We'll discuss also the deployment and licensing options, and how you can obtain your 30-day free trial. Any questions if you have any questions during my webinar, please type them in right into your GoToWebinar window, and after my presentation I will try to go through it. If there's something I cannot go through, I will make sure that we'll take it offline after the webinar ends. So the current situation is really there are a few options right now. You can first of all, you can send files via email, which everybody has done before. Anything over usually 20 megs, you have a good chance that the file attachment will fail. That limit has been progressively increased over the years. Back in 5 years ago, maybe that limit was 3 megs. Now we're probably at 20. Some online web-based services like Gmail and maybe Yahoo can maybe give you up to 500 megs or a gig, but there is an option like that. You have FTP. The FTP is still probably the most common business-to-business file exchange protocol out there today. You need to provide someone the FTP client or instructions on how to install the FTP client. You have to also provide them some kind of a way of seeing what the transfer is doing, because it's a manual process. You can never really see if the transfer has been successful until the file transfer is over. And there's also with FTP, there's the notification issue that after the files are dropped on the FTP, well then whoever was sending it has to call the recipient and say, hey, the files are on your FTP server. So here are some of the issues. Some other companies some other services that people have been going into is, cloud services like Dropbox. You send it. We actually have our own called filestoyou.com as well. It's a web-based service where you can, send files, I think, up to 3 gigs of size anywhere in the world using our FileCatalyst technology. And once again, if you're sending a lot of smaller files and that are perhaps non-mission critical, it's a great service, and they will work. But once again, if you start having issues like, well, your data has restrictions where it can reside. It has to reside on your own servers or in your own jurisdiction. Let's say if you're working for a government, you might not wish your data to leave your country. So then, the cloud services are not necessarily the best option. And also there's the LDAP and Active Directory integration that not necessarily is possible with those systems. So if you have a large user base, you have to create all these accounts manually. The LDAP and Active Directory is not always available. And bottom line is, if you have if you have a larger deployment, we have lots of accounts to install, or you have a very large volume, let's say in the range of 10, 20, 30 gigs a day, the cost of these services starts to add up. Another issue you might want to have is you will notice with these cloud services that you're missing the point-to-point advantage. So the data has to be sent out from your office to some cloud server, and then from the cloud server it has to be pushed down to the recipient. If you are using a solution that is installed in-house, then the files are posted directly on your server. That transfer is really fast because it's practically on local area network, and then the files can be downloaded by your recipients quicker. So you're bypassing the cloud step. So, and once again, with FileCatalyst UDP acceleration, sending over long distance is also maybe not that obvious with some of these cloud services. And the last option you might consider is shipping media. So your DVD, your Blu-rays, your USB hard drives. So once again, the question is, how many hard drives can you fit in the trunk of your car? We have clients that been packing hard drives into the trunk of a car and driving across town and unloading the data. It is an option. Maybe it's not ideal, but it could work. And just once again, if the data is sensitive, copying them and burning them onto DVD disks is not maybe the best way to go, because you don't have as much tracking, and you don't know who touched this media while it was in transit. So FileCatalyst Webmail is a product. You can go to our website where you can actually read up on it. You can also request a demo, as I mentioned, but it solves the problem of really sending large email attachments and some other. So it also provides you the web-based file storage that you can share files online with other people. So this is we had this solution for over 10 years now. So we've seen the many different problems related to file attachments and large email file attachments, and we've tried to build a solution that is, you can either host it in-house or can have it hosted by us, whatever you prefer, and it provides you a lot of flexibility when you're working within a larger organization, or you just have a very large volume of files to send. Just a second here. So I'm going to go right straight into my demos. So first demo is just going to be fairly simple. I'm just going to double check here that everything is still working. Okay, so I'm going to go right into my first demo, which is really just a simple file send. So what we're going to do here, we're going to log in as an end user into our FileCatalyst Webmail solution, and we're going to just send a file. User John is going to send a file to user Dave for illustration. So I'm just going to log in here as John. I can see right away when I log in, I can see all my previous transfers and the status of them. I can also view what happened, but I'm just going to go right straight into new upload here. And now I'm going to type in my recipients. So I can type in as many recipients as I want. As you can see, I have an address book. This address book can integrate with LDAP or Active Directory, so LDAP users can quickly find out who to send the files to, and can also stay up to date. So you can set up an update schedule that once a day, for example, just update sync up the local address book with the Active Directory address book. So now I can here add as many recipients as I want. I can also go this way. I can just click on the address book and select another client, another recipient. This is the subject. This is going to be the subject of my email. So I can put whatever I want here. I'm just not going to change it, and I'm just going to type in here are my files. forgot here an extra comma. So you need to, separate your recipients by commas. So this takes me to the next step, which is the file transfer piece. So this is the step that actually I select now the files I want to send. So what we have here is this runs it runs a small application right within the web browser that's embedded right within the web page of Webmail, where I can now select the files I want to send. So I'm just browsing here my local file system right now, and I'm going to select here some files to send. So I'm just going to select a few files here. So I selected, 5 files here. I might add also an MP4 here, just for demonstration purposes. And I can click, I can select entire folder structures. I can do a shift and control. I can select, for example, I want to send a bandwidth. This is a folder that I'm adding here. So I can add structured data. I don't have to add just single files. I can add structured folders. And I can also using shift and control keys, I can add as many files as I want this way. So it's fairly easy to add a lot of files to send. So now what I'm doing, I'm posting these files to the FileCatalyst Webmail server, and I'm done. So this action here, what it did is actually send out an email to the recipients. So send an email to Dave and John here, and that they received some new files. So I'm now just going to log out here, and now I'm going to turn into a recipient of these files. So let me close this here down, and here's my email. So since this is a demo system, I'm receiving all the emails. I'm receiving all the emails for John and Dave actually coming into one single inbox, because it just Outlook combines it all, but actually it's 2 different separate inboxes. And the first email is actually sent to John Doe, confirming that he sent files, and this email here is actually sent to the recipient. So I'm going to now click here on this email. As you can see here, it has all the information. So what's my sender information, my tracking number. So you see this is the tracking number here. But I don't really need to read all of this. I can just click on this link right here. And right away, as a recipient now, I can download the files to my local system. So I have 2 options here. I can either click on each file individually and download it this way, or I can click on the Download Now button here, which will actually push all the files, including any folder structures, into the location where I select where I want to download these files into. So I'm just going to go into my C here and my temp folder and hit save. So this downloads all the files in one batch. I don't have to click one at a time. I don't have to zip anything. It just downloads and reproduces the folder and path structures that were sent. So, and once the transfer is complete, this actually fires off a couple more emails from the system. So here is the email sent back to the sender saying that John has downloaded all the files, and the file transfer is complete. So this is the very basic use case that 99% of FileCatalyst Webmail users usually end up using. There is now I'm going to get into a little bit more advanced features, so you can actually see what we can do. So what else can be done with the system? So one other option that we very often and that one feature that people always want is security. So we already can do regular file transfers. The files end up in email, but now what about if somebody forwards this email to another recipient? They can also download the files. So there's a little bit of security concern. So what a lot of our administrators wanted is the ability to password protect transfers. So I'm going to show you now how I can add another step. Before the recipient can download the files, they'll be prompted for a password, and they'll have to enter this password before they can actually get to the files. So what I'll do here is So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go back to my system, and I'm going to log in now as administrator. So an administrator is a user that allows me to change everything in the system. There's two levels of administrators. I'm going to show you really the super administrator, but there's also a regular administrator that is not allowed to configure anything. They're allowed to review jobs, reset passwords, look at statistics, but they are not allowed to configure anything on the system. I am, in this case here, I logged in as init, which is the super administrator, so I can actually see the configuration tab here. So I'll go to configuration tab, and now what we wanted to do is we wanted to go to we wanted to add a password field. So the way it works in Webmail is that you create upload forms, and each upload form has certain fields defined. So in this case here, right now, the system comes always with only a single upload form, and I can customize this upload form to do other things. So here's my upload form that you see right now. I just did this transmission with this upload form, and now I'm just going to change it a little bit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add a password. So I'm going to add a password field to this system, and now you can see here secure password that appeared. Let me just order it here properly so I can see it where it appears. And now if I make this secure password field as a required field, everybody sending will have to provide a download password. If I don't make it as a required field, then if that password field is left blank, there will be no password for the download. So it's, once again, as an administrator, you can decide, you can force everyone to set a password, or you can just leave that as an open option, that if the sender wants to do it. And in my case here, I'll just leave it open, so the user can decide what to do with this. And now I'm going to log back in here as John. Now I'm going back as the regular user. And now I'm going to do another upload where you can actually see now how this will look like. So once again, I'm going to send files. So I'm going to send files just back to myself in this case. I already just went through this process. And I'm going to put a password here now, 12345. And click on Upload Files. I'm going to select some files here to transfer. Once again, it's just an illustration purpose right now. We just went through that 2 seconds ago, but just to show you what a password field would do. So this sent files to John. Now I can go back into my email here. I'll just log out, go back into my email. So the password field is actually not sending the email. We have another option called PIN, and a PIN field is something that will be sent via email. So the system will automatically assign a password and send it with the email. It's less secure than a password, but at least it prevents the problem of hackers possibly guessing the tracking numbers. If you noticed, it's always the link to download is going to be always like fcweb/get/ some job ID. So potentially, if someone can start guessing URLs, they could maybe stumble on some files. So if the PIN is present, then they'll still not be able to get to the files because they need the PIN. So that just makes it a little bit harder. But it's the password. On the other hand, the password field is a little harder because as I send the files, now I need to call the recipient and say, hey, here's my password. My password is 12345 to get to the files. So now I have to enter the password. So these files require a password for download. So I'm just going to enter here 12345. And now I'm back into the download mode. So now I can download this file as well into my computer. So the process is just a little bit harder because now there's a password required. So it's similar to password protecting a zip file and sending the files this way. The next step wanted to show you how to do customizing emails based on groups. So now we're going to get into a little bit more complex configuration where I'm going to actually create a group. And so you have the idea of groups here. So I'm just going to create a new group. I'm going to call it, let's say, marketing, and I'm going to leave the options here just as normal. And I'm going to go to my upload forms, and now I'm going to make a new upload form called marketing, special group just for the marketing people. Because let's say marketing might not require a password field, so I'm going to simplify this for them, but not asking anybody within the marketing group for a password. I'm going into my marketing group here, and I'm just going to remove the password. And just to make things a little bit easier to understand, I'm going to add a text field to my order form, so I know what that we're using the right field. I'm just going to call this marketing. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually inserting now custom HTML into my upload form. So whoever is going to use this form is going to always see this marketing message here on the top. And I'm going to save this. And now I got to go back to my group here. And now you can see here, before when I created my group, I didn't see the order forms, but now because I have 2 order forms, I can select that any user part of the marketing group will automatically see the marketing form. And now I'm going to go to view users here, and I'm going to add user John to this group. So let's see here what's going to happen now. So now if I'm going to log in as user John, and I click on new upload, right away you see I go into the marketing order form, or the upload form, where I can enter emails, and the password now is not present for me because the marketing form I selected not to use the password field. So for example, if on the other hand, if like another user that is not part of the marketing group logs in, they will see a password. So you can really customize the file sending workflow to whatever your group or your business unit requires. This gives you a very quick overview of this. So now I can also take this a little further, and I can now say, I can now go into my configuration, and those recipient emails here that were coming in, I can now start customizing the emails based on the order form. So because the order form was assigned to marketing group, everybody within marketing will see this order form, and I can now customize also the recipient email for this type of system as well. So I can customize the look and feel and so on and so forth. So that's the order form customization. The next demo here I wanted to show you is file areas. So once again, what I'll go back into login as John here. So we've looked at the new uploads and how you can customize the upload forms based on the user or group. Now I'm going to look at the file areas. So in this case here, as you can see, I logged into the marketing file area. So if I start uploading files now into this web-based folder, so as long as I have a web browser and an internet connection, I will be able to access these files, and I can either upload them, download them, share them with anybody else. And in this case here, I'm just uploading a couple of files into my marketing group. So everybody within marketing now all of a sudden has a shared web-based folder that they can collaborate and transfer files. Another step I can now take is that once I have a lot of files here and I want to share now these files with somebody else, but I don't want to give them write access. I just want them to be able to see some certain files. So what I'm going to do here, let's say I want to share now FileCatalyst Central brochure, which is our marketing brochure for FileCatalyst Central. I want to share it with somebody. So all I have to do is I have to go into the marketing folder. I can click on Send Selected Files. And now what it automatically did is that instead of clicking on New Upload, where I have to put my recipients and select files, it brought me right away into the upload form with my file already pre-selected because I selected it for marketing. And now I can just send these files to whoever I want. So this will mean that Dave will be able to get access to this file, but will not be able to online modify this file with me because he's not part of my marketing group. If I would want Dave to have access to this file, I would have to first create an account for Dave, assign him to a group marketing, and then he would be able to read and write files. Similarly, you can make groups that are read-only or write-only as well. So that's a concept of file areas. So you can make as many file areas as you have groups. You can create unlimited number of groups. You can create unlimited number of users, and you can have people share and collaborate files, and also share these files with people outside of your organization without necessarily creating an account on the system for these people, these users. So that's the demo for the file areas. So what we have is we can provide you this is pretty much as I'm going to get into demos today because I only have 30 minutes. Just to go over quickly, we can provide you a 30-day free trial of this software. All you have to do is just request a trial through our website. Licensing options for FileCatalyst Webmail. Well, we have a few options for you. We can provide you a perpetual on-site license, so you purchase a one-time fee of $10,000, and you own the software license for life on your own system. We can also provide you a leased on-site license, so you still install it on-site, but instead of having a large capital expense, you can do a monthly lease payment of $500 a month, and then you can run it in a similar fashion as you would be running the perpetual license. And finally, we also have a hosted. So if you do wish to have a hosted system of webmail, we can provide you with a hosted instance. So we'll install it on our own servers, managed servers, and we'll manage the service for you. And that's also roughly about $500 a month or so. If you wish to add UDP acceleration to this system, so this is to add, to make sure that all the file transfers across, the Atlantic or all the international long-distance file transfers are accelerated. That's another add-on of about $5,000, which you can add for webmail. So just to give you a little bit heads up, what we're doing with our events. Well, thank you very much for coming today. We'll be at NAB 2013 starting on April 8th. We'll have a booth in the South Lower Hall. We'll have also a user forum on May 6th in Los Angeles, California. I hope maybe we can see you there. And we're also will be at Interop 2013 in Las Vegas, Nevada as well on May 6th. So hope to see you there. And of course, don't forget our monthly webinars. We'll be posting. We'll have another webinar next month. So thank you very much. Let me just look at here quickly at the questions. If there's anything that needs to be answered. I don't see any questions. So thank you very much for attending today, and hope to see you at the next webinar, or perhaps we'll see each other at one of the trade shows or the user forum. Have a good day. Thank you.